Hey, I'd like to thank you for signing up for my email list. Um, I've had my email list going for a couple of years, and we've got a couple of thousand really faithful people that participate, and I'm really appreciative whenever somebody joins up. We've had a lot of people recently that have joined up, so I thought I'd do this video as an introduction and kind of welcome you to the group. So, what if I were to ask you, how's your pet's health doing? Just a general question. Then more than likely you would probably answer something like, "Oh, it's doing okay," or "It's fine," or you might even say, "Well, it's been sick lately." And that's kind of the way we generally think in regards to healthcare, not only for our pets but for ourselves. Where it's either okay or we're sick. And the reason that I'm mentioning that is because that approach gives us a general feeling that we define our health on whether or not we're ill. And that's the same thing we think about when we talk about our pet's health, is as long as it's not sick, it's not showing symptoms, then it's okay. Well, I'm here to tell you that that's not exactly the case. Actually, there's a giant gap between a well pet and a sick pet. So imagine these two ends. Here's this well pet, and here's this sick pet. And we kind of ignore this big gap in between. And that's where we should start paying some more attention to it. And we can. It's just that we haven't been trained to do that. So have you ever run across somebody that when you ask them, when you see somebody on the street or you see a friend and you ask them, "How have you been doing?" And most people say, "I'm fine, how are you?" And something like that. But on occasion, you'll run across that person that'll say, "Well, not too bad. Not too bad." And most of us kind of feel that's an awkward kind of an answer. Not too bad. How are you doing? I'm not too badly. And that, but when you think about it, that's kind of the truth. That's kind of more of the truth. There aren't many people out there that are really healthy people. And so that description, not too bad, that kind of is a better description of how our overall health situation is, particularly our pets. So that not too bad kind of describes that gap between normal health and being clinically ill. And so if we want to do a good job dealing with our pet's health, then we want to recognize that space, and we want to know what's going on in that space between that perfect wellness and that sick pet. And so that's what I want to do. I want to introduce that to you. And so anyway, if you don't know, I'm Dr. Dennis Thomas, and a little bit of history is that I've been a veterinarian now for about a little over 38 years. And so I've been around a long time and I've seen a lot of stuff. Well, about 17 or 18 years ago, I moved out beyond conventional medicine and started doing alternative and medicine, and have developed what I call a holistic mindset when it comes to pet healthcare. And since I've been doing that, I've learned an awful lot about the limitations of conventional medicine. And that's what I like to do, is to help you learn what I've learned so that we can recognize things early and be a little more proactive and establishing normal health and not having things jump up and surprise us. I wrote a book 3 or 4 years ago called Whole Pet Healing. It was published by Hay House Publications. A lot of you have read that, and I appreciate that. And it's a good introductory book into the things that I'm going to be talking about. But anyway, the holistic healthcare approach is again not just a proactive approach, but it's a completely new mindset. It's a different mindset of looking at everything that affects our health and our pet's health. And so when we understand all the things that contribute to our health and well-being, and things that contribute to unhealth status, then we can do a better job of being proactive and taking care of our pets and preventing these illnesses from occurring. And I'll give you an example. It's probably going on right now, but many times every day, let's imagine you have a cat. Let's say you have a cat and your cat's 10 years old, And basically, Kitty's been doing fine. It's been eating and doing its normal thing. And then suddenly one day you wake up and she's not feeling well. Let's say she's off of her food. Maybe she's vomiting a couple of times. So anyway, you take her into the vet and they do an examination on her and they end up doing some blood work. And they come back in and they tell you that your cat's in kidney failure. Now, this is something that is really common. As a matter of fact, about 1/3 of all cats that live indoors die from kidney disease. So here you go. From one day your cat is apparently healthy, and then the next day your cat's sick, and the vet tells you that your cat's in kidney failure and that there's a good chance it's going to die. And if it's not going to die, that's going to take a whole lot of intense work to get your cat back into a situation that's not dying, but it's still going to have serious kidney failure, and it's going to be diagnosed as kidney failure, and they're going to give you something like maybe up to 6 months for this kitty to live with treatment. So, but the point that I'm making is that it appeared that the kitty was normal one day, and then the very next day it's got a life-threatening or potentially terminal disease. Now, and this is just one example. There's many other situations that occur. I can think of dogs. Many times I've seen a client that brought a dog in, and the dog was limping, and they noticed that the dog was limping for a couple of days, and dog otherwise is perfectly normal. And if they would ask, some friend would have asked them how the dog's doing. They said, well, he's fine. He's just got a limp. So anyway, they take the dog into the vet. They bring it in to see me, and I do a workup on it. And then I come back in and tell them, I've got bad news. Your dog's got bone cancer. And then they react, not expecting it, because everything appeared normal except for this subtle limp. And then I tell them that the dog's got bone cancer, and then it's got probably, with treatment, 3 to 6 months to live. So again, in our mind, what we've done is we've gone from what we perceive as a normal health situation, and then within a day or two, then we've gone into a situation that's going to be life-threatening or probably life-ending situation. And the reason that happened is because it appears that our pets are normal, but they're not. They're unhealthy. So our mindset saying normal or sick instead of healthy and unhealthy. Because I will tell you right now, in my experience, is that most pets, even if they're not clinically ill, are unhealthy, okay? And it's just a matter of time before that unhealthy situation is going to start showing itself. And generally that might start as early clinical symptoms or early disease processes. That might be something as simple as a recurring ear infections or a flare-up of allergies, or maybe even intermittent soft stools or things like this. But these are normal symptoms of an abnormal condition that maybe might not even be making the pet clinically ill. But what there are is the early signs that the pet is unhealthy. And so we basically have a tendency to ignore that phase, that unhealthy phase, instead of taking taking the opportunity to recognize the unhealthy state and moving it back to the healthy state. Because unfortunately, these progressions, what I call imbalances that cause this progression, in other words, that cat that got diagnosed with kidney failure, it wasn't healthy one day and then had kidney failure the next day. That kidney failure was a culmination of many years of imbalances that had been going on that led to that point. And now it got to the point that the kidneys could no longer function, and that went into a crisis that is life-threatening. So, but it didn't, and that's the same thing with the bone cancer. That's the same thing with many of these terminal diseases. They didn't just happen, even though that you go in and they've given you a diagnosis of a disease, a conceptual disease such as cancer or what have you. That didn't just happen. It's the terminal phase, the end phase of a progression of unhealthy state for many years. And that's what we have to do. We've got to change the mindset. We've got to change our thinking. We've got to change our goal, and we've got to become more proactive to stop that progression, to move it back to the normal phase and keep our pets normal. their health normal. That's what it's about. That's a holistic approach. That is because from a holistic approach, we define it as being perfect health and well-being. That's what we want. I deal with people every day as a teacher and a consultant that I tell them that that's our goal. It's not just to relieve these symptoms and to stop these symptoms. It's not even just about eliminating this disease. It's about restoring normal health, perfect health and well-being. That's our goal, is to get back to perfect health and well-being. That's where we want to be, and we can do that. You know, as a holistic veterinarian practicing alternative medicine, for many years I've been treating an awful lot of patients, a lot of pets that have had real serious chronic, even terminal diseases. And during the process of me working with them, whether it's as a consultant or whether as a veterinarian, then almost the one thing that I can almost tell you that I hear from almost every single pet caretaker that I deal with, they all say the same thing to me somewhere along the line. They say, I wish that I would have known back then what I know now. And basically what that means is that I didn't know what I could have been doing to prevent this from happening. And we can't know what we don't know. It's the nature of the beast. And our whole conventional medicine is set up to be a reactive scenario. We don't do much as a proactive thing. We don't work towards getting back to perfect health and well-being. We wait until the pet gets sick, and then we deal with it on a reactive basis. And a lot of times, unfortunately, it's too late then. And that's what I deal with almost every single day, are these older patients that have had these chronic disorders that have been going on intermittently throughout their lives, and now it's become very serious, very critical. And what we have to do is try to work backwards to get to that health and well-being. And unfortunately, a lot of the senior pets, it's been going on for many, many years. And I just got off the phone with a lady, and that's what she's talking about, her dog having chronic allergies. And the first thing I asked was how old her dog was. She said it was 12 years old. So that's the point. The point is that this dog has had imbalances going on for 12 years. So I know as a holistic veterinarian that my job is to work backwards and undo that damage and undo that unhealthy status that's been going on for most of this pet's life. So anyway, that's my job, is to teach you, and that's what I hope to do, is to teach you and give you ideas of what you can do to get your pet back there. That's what we all want, not only with our pet's health, but for our health as well. So anyway, I appreciate you joining the group. I will be sending you another email in a few days, and the next video that I'm going to be sending you is going to give you some guidelines, some things that you can do right now that can start moving your pet back towards that normal health and well-being. Okay, and so I look forward to you participating, and I really appreciate you joining, and I hope these videos are going to be helpful for you. Well, have a great day, and we'll talk soon.